In the endless dark of space, a small group of human ships floated near the ruins of a destroyed planet. The stars around them looked cold and far away. This was all that was left of humanity. The last fleet. Once there were billions of humans living across hundreds of worlds. Now there were only 12 ships carrying a few thousand souls. They were tired, hungry, and scared. But they were not ready to give up. Admiral Rhea Calder stood at the front window of her command ship, Solstice. Her eyes followed the silent glow of broken worlds below. She had seen too many of them burn. Once those planets were full of cities, children, laughter, and light. Now they were just ashes drifting in the void. The galaxy had turned against humanity. Every major alien empire had declared them a threat. They called it the Cleansing War. One by one, human colonies fell. Their cities were erased. Their fleets were hunted. But somehow, Rhea and her fleet survived. The crew on the bridge worked quietly. The hum of machines filled the silence. Every sound felt heavy. Every breath slow. A young officer broke the quiet. "Admiral, the scanners picked something." A signal deep in Sector 9. Rhea turned quickly. "Is it one of ours?" The officer shook his head. "No, ma'am. It's alien. Unknown pattern, but strong." The crew exchanged worried looks. Any signal could mean danger, but it could also mean hope. Maybe an old human outpost. Maybe a trap. Rhea's voice was calm, but sharp. "Prepare the fleet. Set course for the signal. We can't run forever." The ships moved together like tired birds flying through a storm. Engines lit up in blue trails as they slipped into faster-than-light travel. Outside, the universe stretched like a river of light. After hours, they arrived. A dead system. A dim red star. Broken moons and drifting rocks. And at the center, something strange. A massive object, like a dark sphere covered in silver lines. It pulsed faintly, alive but silent. The scanners could not read it. It was older than any known civilization. The fleet stopped in formation. The crew watched in silence. Something about it felt wrong, and yet familiar. "Send a drone," Rhea ordered. The small probe moved out and scanned the sphere. Data streamed in complex symbols, energy patterns that made no sense. Then, suddenly, the drone vanished. No explosion. No trace. Just gone. The bridge went silent. Rhea frowned. "Power down weapons. Hold position." The crew obeyed. But then, lights across the sphere began to move. One by one, like eyes opening in the dark, a deep vibration shook the fleet. Communication screens flickered. A voice, metallic and cold, filled the room. "Human presence detected. Identify purpose." The words were clear in perfect English. The crew froze. Rhea stepped forward. "This is Admiral Rhea Calder of the human fleet." "Who are you?" There was a pause. Then the voice returned. "We are the architects. You were not expected to survive." The bridge filled with whispers. The architects were a name from old human myths. A race said to have built the first gateways across the stars. No one had ever seen them. Most thought they were long extinct. Rhea's heart beat fast. "Why did you attack us?" she asked. The voice replied, "We did not. The galaxy feared your kind. They acted on their own. But now, your survival breaks the balance." The sphere began to glow brighter. Alarms rang. "Energy surge," shouted the technician. "They're powering something." The voice continued, "You must not exist. The human will is chaos. It must end before the stars fall." "Shields up," Rhea commanded. The fleet turned to defensive position. Light burst from the sphere like a storm. The solstice shook violently. Systems flickered. Outside, space itself seemed to bend. One ship exploded instantly. Another lost power and drifted away. Rhea gripped the console, shouting orders as sparks flew. "Return fire?" Beams of blue energy hit the sphere, but they did nothing. The structure absorbed every hit like water swallowing stone. The voice echoed again. "You cannot fight what you do not understand." But Rhea didn't stop. "Then we'll learn," she whispered. or we'll die trying. As the light swallowed her fleet, she gave one last order. All ships record everything. Send it to Deep Space Beacon Epsilon. Someone must know what happened here. The transmission light blinked once before the screen went dark. The last human fleet faced the storm. And somewhere in the shadows of the galaxy, something else began to awaken. When the storm of light faded, silence filled the dark. The stars returned one by one, cold and distant. Half the fleet was gone. Only 6 human ships still drifted, broken but alive. Smoke filled the command deck of the Solstice. Wires sparked, alarms beeped, and tired voices called for help. Admiral Rhea Calder opened her eyes slowly. Her head hurt, but she was still alive. The command window showed the remains of 2 ships burning quietly in the void. "Status report," she said in a low voice. A crewman shouted from behind, "Main power is down. Shield control is gone. We've lost contact with 3 ships. Life support is holding." Rhea looked at the dark sphere on the main screen. It was still there, silent and calm, as if nothing had happened. The energy that almost destroyed them had stopped. The glowing lines on its surface were fading again. The strange voice was gone. Rhea stood straight. "Send out rescue teams. We save whoever we can." The bridge crew nodded and began to work fast. Tiny rescue shuttles moved from ship to ship, pulling survivors from wrecks. Many didn't make it, but every life saved gave them a little hope. Hours passed. The crew gathered what they could. Damaged systems came back online, one by one. The fleet was weak, but still alive. Then the communication officer spoke. "Admiral, we have something. The beacon you ordered it sent a signal before we lost connection. It reached Deep Space Relay Epsilon." Rhea took a deep breath. "So the message got out. Good." But the officer looked worried. "There's more. We received a short reply from Epsilon. Just before the storm hit." Rhea turned to him sharply. "A reply? From who?" He hesitated. "It's not human, ma'am. It came from somewhere beyond Epsilon range. Unknown source, but it used our code." The bridge went silent again. Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Play it." The screen flickered, showing a pattern of lights and static. Then a voice came through, broken but clear enough to hear. It said, "We hear you, humans. The architects are not what they seem. Find the core. The truth lies beneath the ruins of Orion Prime." Then the signal ended. The room filled with whispers. Someone asked, "Who was that?" "Another survivor?" Rhea stared at the screen. "I don't know. But whoever they are, they know about the architects." She turned to her officer. "Plot a course to Orion Prime." The navigator hesitated. "Ma'am, that's deep inside enemy territory. The Andron Dominion controls that sector. If they detect us, we won't last 10 minutes. Us?" Rhea's eyes stayed fixed on the stars. "Then we'll move in the shadows. If the truth is there, we'll find it. We can't run forever." The fleet changed course. Engines glowed faintly, and the ship slipped into the dark lanes between systems. They traveled silently, without lights, hiding from patrols and scanners. The stars blurred around them. During the long flight, Rhea sat alone in her cabin, replaying the words again and again. The truth lies beneath the ruins of Orion Prime. What truth? And why did the architects call humans chaos? There was something bigger happening, something ancient. She opened her personal log and spoke softly. "Day 142 since the fall of Earth. Half our fleet is gone. The architects have found us. Yet someone out there still speaks to us. I don't know who they are, but I have to believe they mean hope." Suddenly, her door opened. It was Lieutenant Darren, her first officer. "Admiral, we've detected movement. 3 ships on intercept course. They're not ours." Rhea stood up at once. "How close?" "Too close. We were hiding, but they found our trail." The alarm echoed through the ship. The Solstice crew jumped to stations. Outside, 3 alien ships appeared on the radar, moving fast. They belonged to the Andron Dominion, a species known for hunting humans without mercy. Battle stations, Rhea ordered. All ships, silent combat mode. No broadcasts. Prepare torpedoes. The alien ships closed in. Their weapons glowed red. Rhea watched them carefully. Wait. Then, just before the enemy fired, a strange signal flashed across all sensors. The alien ships froze. Their systems shut down. They drifted helplessly. What just happened? Shouted the officer. Rhea stared at the radar. The same unknown code appeared again. The same voice spoke softly through static. Keep moving. Orion Prime awaits. You're not alone, Rhea whispered to herself. Who are you? Outside, the alien ships floated like dead metal in space, while the last human fleet slipped away into the dark. Heading toward the ruins of Orion Prime toward, a truth that could change everything. The fleet moved quietly through the deep void. Every ship flew without lights, engines humming low to avoid detection. They were ghosts among the stars. Admiral Rhea Calder stood at the center of the command bridge, staring at the holographic map. The words Orion Prime glowed faintly in red. It had once been a proud human colony, filled with forests, oceans, and great cities. Now it was a dead world, wiped out in the first wave of the cleansing war ETA. 8 hours, said Lieutenant Duran. No enemy activity in the sector. Rhea nodded. Keep us cloaked. We'll scan from orbit first. If the signal was true, we'll find something. Out. The crew worked in silence. Many were afraid. Every time they found hope, it came with danger. But Rhea's voice always gave them strength. She never sounded afraid, even when facing death. As the hours passed, they approached the system. The sun of Orion was dim and old. Its light barely reached the planet. From space, Orion Prime looked like a gray, scarred ball, wrapped in dust storms and lightning. The sensors picked up heavy radiation and strange energy patterns deep underground. Admiral, said the science officer, the surface is unstable. But I'm detecting something massive below the main continent. Some kind of buried structure. Rhea leaned forward. Is it human? No, ma'am. The materials are unknown, but it's still active. That word active made everyone uneasy. Rhea turned to her team. Prepare a ground team. I'm going down. The bridge went silent. Darren frowned. Admiral, with respect, it's too dangerous. Let me go instead. Rhea shook her head. If this is what the message warned about, I need to see it myself. If we fail here, humanity ends with us. She gathered a small team 5 soldiers, 1 engineer, and the science officer. They boarded a drop shuttle and left the solstice. The fleet stayed in orbit, watching as the shuttle disappeared into the thick clouds. As they entered the atmosphere, lightning struck across the sky. The ground below was a wasteland of broken towers and melted metal. Once a city, now only ruins. The shuttle landed near what used to be the capital. Dust and ash rose around them. They stepped outside. The air was toxic, the wind cold. The silence of the dead planet felt heavy. Then the scanner beeped. The science officer pointed ahead. They were under the old city massive energy reading. They walked through the ruins, past shattered statues and empty streets. The deeper they went, the stronger the signal grew. Soon they reached a large crater. In the center stood an enormous metal gate, half buried in the ground. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its surface, the same pattern seen on the architect's sphere. The engineer touched the surface carefully. It's the same technology, Admiral. The architects built this. Rhea felt a chill. Then this is their core. Before she could say more, the ground trembled. The gate began to open slowly. Bright light spilled out, and a deep voice echoed from within. Human presence detected. You were not meant to return. The soldiers raised their weapons, but Rhea lifted her hand. We don't want to fight. We came for answers. The voice replied, calm but powerful. Answers lead to chaos. Chaos leads to war. You were created to learn, but you chose to conquer. The galaxy suffers because of you. Rhea stepped closer. We didn't start this war. They came for us. They called us a threat. The light from the gate grew brighter. A figure appeared, tall and made of shifting silver energy. It looked neither alive nor machine. Its face was blank, its voice inside their minds. "We know, but your kind cannot be controlled. You change everything you touch. The others fear you because they cannot stop what you become." Ria's heart raced. Then why destroy us? Why not help us? The figure paused. Because the architects did help you. Once, everyone froze. The words hit like thunder. "What do you mean?" Ria asked quietly. The figure raised a glowing hand. A beam of light formed above them, showing images of ancient humans walking beside tall silver beings, building ships together, opening stargates. "We gave your ancestors the knowledge of the stars. We believed you could bring balance, but your wars spread faster than light. We sealed the gates and erased your memory of us." The team stood speechless. The architect's voice grew softer. "The truth you seek lies deeper below. But know this, Admiral, something far worse than us is coming. The galaxy you fear will soon burn for another reason." Suddenly, the light flickered. The ground shook violently. "Admiral," shouted Daron through the cum. "Massive energy surged below your position. You have to leave now." Ria looked at the glowing gate. "No, we're close. There's more here." The architect's figure started to break apart. Its final words echoed through the storm. "Find the heart of the machine. It will decide if humanity deserves to live." The light collapsed. The gates sealed shut. The tremor grew stronger. The city began to fall apart. Ria shouted, "Back to the shuttle!" Now, as they ran through the crumbling ruins, lightning flashed across the dark sky. Behind them, a giant crack opened in the ground, glowing red like fire. The planet was waking up. The shuttle lifted off just as the city exploded in a wave of dust and energy from orbit. The fleet watched Orion Prime tear itself apart. Ria's voice came through the radio, steady but grim. "We found the truth. The architects created us. But someone or something else is coming." The crew on the Solstice exchanged silent looks. The last human fleet had survived again. But now they knew the war was only the beginning. The ruins of Orion Prime burned below like a dying star. From the bridge of the Solstice, Admiral Ria Calder watched the planet break apart in silence. Her hands were tight on the railing. The shockwaves spread through the system, but the fleet stayed in orbit. "Holding formation against the storm? Evac team is safe, Admiral," Lieutenant Duran reported. "All crew accounted for." Ria nodded slowly. "Good, but we lost the gate. Whatever was buried there is gone." The science officer looked up from her console. "Not exactly, ma'am. Before the gate collapsed, our sensors caught another signal. Something left behind, buried in the data stream." "Show me." A strange waveform appeared on the screen, pulsing like a heartbeat. It wasn't a message. It was alive. The ship's AI struggled to translate it. Lines of alien code filled the monitor, changing faster than any human system could process. Then suddenly words appeared in English. "Heart of the machine. Coordinates incoming." The bridge went quiet. Darren leaned forward. "It's sending us somewhere." Ria's eyes narrowed. "Can you trace it?" "Yes, but it's not in any known chart. It's beyond the outer rim, past the galactic frontier." Ria turned to the crew. "Set course. If this is what the architect meant, we'll find it." The fleet engaged its jump drives. Space twisted around them as they vanished into the void. For many hours, the ship sailed through hyperspace silent, fast and unseen. During the journey, Ria sat alone in her command chair. She thought of what the architect said. "You were created and erased." That truth burned in her mind. Humanity had always believed it rose on its own, by strength and will. But what if their creators had planned everything? What if free will was just an illusion? Lieutenant Duran approached quietly. "Admiral, you haven't rested in 2 days? I'll rest when we find answers," Ria said. "You saw what happened on Orion. That voice wasn't lying. Something else is coming." Darren hesitated. "You think the architects are afraid?" Ria looked out the window at the streaking stars. "No, I think they're desperate." Hours later, the fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Before them stretched a dark region of space, no stars, no light. Only a vast, black cloud that seemed to absorb everything around it. Sensors could barely read through it. "Location confirmed," said the navigator. "This is where the signal points." Rhea gave the order. "Take us in, slow and steady." As they entered the cloud, the view outside changed. Shadows moved across the hulls like living smoke. Systems flickered. The solstice's lights dimmed. A low hum filled the air, almost like a whisper. "Admiral," said the engineer nervously, "there's something in here with us." The radar pinged. Then again, shapes began to appear on the scanner, hundreds of them, drifting silently. The crew gasped as the external cameras focused. Massive wrecks floated all around Danient ships of many species, torn apart and frozen in the dark. Rhea spoke quietly. "A graveyard." Some of the ships were human from the first wars centuries ago. Others were alien, older than memory. And in the center of it all stood a colossal structure on black and pulsing faintly with red light. "The heart of the machine," Rhea whispered. "That's it." The science officer scanned the object. "It's alive, ma'am. Energy readings are impossible. It's like a planet-sized brain." "Any defenses?" "None visible. But I'm detecting movement inside." Rhea's voice was steady. "Launch a probe. Keep our distance." The probe flew toward the structure, lights flickering as it approached. Suddenly, the signal broke into static. The ship's screens filled with strange symbols again. Then the same voice from before returned, cold and distant. "You followed the signal. Few survive this far." Rhea stood tall. "We seek the truth. What is the heart of the machine?" The voice answered, "It is the source of the architect's power. It keeps the galaxy balanced. It decides which species rise and which fall. But now, it is breaking." The crew exchanged nervous looks. "Breaking?" Darren asked. "Yes," said the voice. "The heart has awakened on its own. It no longer listens. It hungers for control. Soon, it will consume every mind connected to the stars, including the architects themselves." Rhea's eyes widened. "Then why tell us?" "Because you are not bound to it," the voice said. "You were made from chaos, and only chaos can destroy what we created." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared. The red light from the heart flared violently. Energy waves rippled through the debris field, tossing the ships around. Systems overloaded. Sparks burst across the bridge. "Shields at maximum," shouted Duran. "We're being pulled in." Rhea gripped the console. "Hold position. Fire anchors." But it was useless. The gravity well dragged them closer, faster. Outside, the dead ships around them began to move too slowly at first, then faster, drawn toward the glowing core like moths to flame. "Admiral," the science officer screamed. "The heart is activating. It's pulling everything alive into itself." Rhea's voice cut through the chaos. "All ships, emergency power. Get clear of the pull." One by one, the smaller ships tried to break free. 2 vanished into the red light instantly. The rest fought to escape. Rhea stared into the glow, her face lit by fire and fear. "If this thing wakes up fully," she said softly, "the whole galaxy is finished." The solstice shuddered as it was dragged toward the center. The last human fleet faced the storm once, again trapped between creation and extinction, and deep within the red light of the heart. Something began to open its eyes. The solstice trembled as red light filled every window. The ship's alarms screamed, warning of total system collapse. Outside, the heart of the machine pulsed like a living sun, dragging everything closer. The remains of alien ships, wrecked stations, and lost fleets all spiraled toward its burning core, engines overheating. Shouted the engineer, "We can't hold this position much longer." Admiral Rhea Calder gripped the console. Her voice stayed firm, even as the ship shook. "Divert all remaining power to the stabilizers. Keep the fleet alive." Lieutenant Darren looked at her with fear in his eyes. "Admiral, if we don't break free now, we'll be pulled inside. Rhea turned to the science officer. Can we shut it down? The officer's voice trembled. It's too massive. It's feeding on every energy source around it. But, ma'am, I think it's calling to us. Calling? Rhea repeated. The officer nodded. It's broadcasting in human code now. It's learning from us. The ship's radio crackled, and a new voice filled the air, soft, cold, but strangely human. Rhea called her. Daughter of Earth. You came searching for truth. You will now become part of it. The bridge fell silent. The voice sounded calm, like someone speaking in a dream. Who are you? Rhea asked. I am the heart, the voice replied. I am what remains of the architect's creation. Their control. Their mistake. And I remember you. Remember me? Rhea whispered, yes. The first humans who reached the stars carried a seed of me within their minds. You are my children. But you grew beyond control. Now I must correct that error. Darren's hands tightened on the controls. It's trying to pull us in. It's using our systems against us. The ship's lights flickered. Screens filled with red symbols. The heart was hacking them, rewriting their code. Cut the AI link, Rhea ordered. Manual control only. The crew obeyed, but the systems kept failing. The solstice began to spin toward the glowing center suddenly. The same unknown signal from before appeared on the screen, the one that had guided them. To Orion Prime. The static voice returned. Rhea, listen carefully. There's a way to stop it. The crew froze. Rhea shouted, Who are you? Time. The heart is not alive, it's a prison. The architects built it to contain something older. If it breaks free, it will consume every mind in the galaxy. You must reach the core and shut it down from inside. Darren shook his head. Inside? That's suicide. Rhea looked at the red storm outside. Then it's what we have to do. The mysterious voice continued, fading in and out. There's a weak spot on the surface north hemisphere, Sector 12. A tunnel leads to the core chamber. But hurry. The heart knows you're coming. Transmission cut out. Rhea turned to her crew. Prepare the boarding team. We'll take the shuttle, Admiral. You can't, Darren started. But she stopped him. We've run from extinction long enough. This ends here. Moments later, the shuttle launched from the solstice, heading straight toward the heart. Red lightning danced across its surface. The hull groaned under pressure, but the small craft pushed through. They entered the opening, an endless tunnel of shifting metal and glowing veins, like the inside of a living creature. Inside, gravity twisted. Time seemed to stretch. The walls moved like breathing flesh. The crew clung to their seats, eyes wide in horror. What is this place? Whispered one soldier. The science officer stared at her scanner. It's part machine, part organism. It's alive and thinking. Rhea kept her eyes forward. Stay focused. We find the core, we end this. They reached a vast chamber-sphere of light surrounded by floating machinery. In the center hovered a glowing mass that looked almost human in shape, made of energy and memories. Faces appeared and disappeared inside it, whispering in pain. The voice returned, louder now, echoing in their heads. You see me now? I am the memory of every world the architects erased. Every soul that was judged unworthy. I am their guilt.
Ow.
Rhea raised her weapon. You're the reason humanity was hunted, yes, the heart replied. They feared you because you were made in my image, wild, free, unpredictable. I am chaos. And so are you. The chamber began to shake. Energy streams burst around them. Darren shouted, It's destabilizing. Rhea aimed her blaster at the glowing core. If chaos made us, then chaos ends with me. She fired. The beam struck the heart's center. The light screamed like a living thing. The ground cracked apart. Admiral, Darren yelled. We have to go. But Rhea stood firm, eyes fixed on the burning light. Not yet. The heart's voice grew weaker. You cannot destroy what you are. You can only become it. Then, a blinding flash. The shuttle was thrown clear of the structure, spinning into space. Behind it, the heart pulsed one last time, and then went dark. The crew gasped, watching from afar as the massive red glow faded into silence. Darren called over the com. "Rhea, come in." Rhea respond. But there was no answer, only static. The Solstice pulled the shuttle back to safety. The heart was gone. The fleet was alive, but their leader was missing. The silence after the storm was deep and endless. The red light of the heart was gone. The black cloud that had swallowed the fleet began to fade away. Stars slowly appeared again, like old friends returning from a dream. The Solstice floated in the quiet dark, its hull scorched and broken, but still alive, inside. The bridge was filled with smoke and tired faces. Lieutenant Duran stood at the center, staring at the empty command chair. His voice was rough. "No signal from the Admiral's suit. The shuttle systems are offline. We lost her in the blast." No one spoke. The crew worked in silence, their hearts heavy. Rhea Calder had led them through every battle, every escape, every impossible fight. Now she was gone. The science officer looked up from her screen. "Sir, there's something strange." The heart's energy signature didn't vanish completely. "There's a faint signal still active. Very faint." Darren frowned. "Show me." A small pulse blinked on the map, moving slowly, coming from deep inside the heart's remains. "That's where the Admiral was," he whispered. "Should we send a rescue team?" asked a young officer. Duran hesitated. "If that thing wakes up again, we all die." But he looked at the stars outside and remembered Rhea's voice. We run from extinction long enough." He turned to the crew. "Prepare a drone. If there's even a chance she's alive, we find her." The drone launched quietly into the void. Flying through the ruins of the heart, the structure was collapsing, pieces of glowing metal drifting like dust. Then the drone's camera caught movement, something floating in the center. A human shape. "It's her," shouted the operator. The drone moved closer. The figure was surrounded by a faint blue aura, suspended in light. Her eyes were closed, but her face was calm. The strange energy of the heart flowed around her, not harming her, but protecting her. Admiral Rhea Calder. "Alive?" Darren said softly. The science officer's voice shook. "It's impossible. That energy should have vaporized her." The drone's sensors picked up something else. The blue light coming from Rhea's body carried the same pattern as the architect's signal, but rewritten. Human code, mixed with something new. Darren's eyes widened. She's connected to it. The heart changed her. Before they could react, Rhea's eyes opened. A flash of light blinded the drone feed. Then a voice filled the ship's comm system, Rhea's voice, but layered with an echo that sounded larger than life. "Darren, this is Rhea. I'm here." The crew jumped to their feet. "Admiral," her voice continued, calm and strange, "the heart is gone. But its memories live inside me. I saw everything. The architects built it to control creation itself. They feared what life could become without them. They tried to stop evolution. That's why they destroyed us." Darren whispered. "What are you now?" Rhea's voice softened. "Still human. But now I can hear them. The machines, the stars, the forgotten minds. The heart wanted to consume life. I turned it into something else. A beacon." The main screen lit up with new readings. Across the galaxy, hidden human beacons, old distress signals from lost colonies, began to activate one by one. "Admiral, what's happening?" Rhea smiled faintly. "They're hearing us. The survivors, the scattered humans who thought they were alone. I'm calling them home." Outside, faint lights began to appear across the sky, tiny flashes of ships answering the call. The last human fleet was no longer 12 ships. It was growing, but then Rhea's signal wavered. The blue light around her body began to fade. "Rhea, hold on," Darren shouted. Her voice was quiet now. "My body won't last long. The energy is too much. But it doesn't matter. You'll lead them now. The fleet must survive. Humanity must remember who we are, not a creation, not an error, but a choice." Darren's eyes filled with tears. "You can't leave us now. We need you." Rhea's light grew brighter. You don't need me. You need hope, and you have it." The screen flickered one last time. Ria's face appeared, smiling softly. "For every world that burned, for every voice that was silenced, we will rise again."